Hello everybody. Today we're going to be making an awesome origami goat right here. You can see it is a bit of an advanced origami, but I'm not very good at folding and I was able to pick it up pretty quickly after only a few short tries, so you'll be able to do great. The first thing what we're going to need is just a normal piece of A4 paper. I cut mine into a square for ease, but it's just a normal piece of paper. Anything thicker will be a lot harder to fold, so I definitely recommend having this be the thickest type of paper. To start, we're going to want to fold it into thirds. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but I find the easiest way is honestly just to eyeball it. And you only need to fold down about an inch or so, or crease down just an inch. Other than that, it's not that important. Next up, we're going to want to make an X just by folding in the sides into little triangles. So there's one, and now I'm going to do the other side and just connect the corners. Just like that. So now if you'll notice we have our X and we have our thirds right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the third and I'm going to essentially fold up until the intersection on that corner, so the intersection of the third and the X. Then I'm going to fold again until we get to this middle point of our paper, right about there. Now I'm going to want to do this again on this side, so I find the easiest way to do that is just to fold it up, mark it down like a little doggy tag, and then fold it over. Just like that. So let's do that and that. Now we have a shape that kind of looks like a bit like a cannoli. This is what we're going to be working on for the majority of the rest of our build. So we're going to work on the tail next. So I'm going to kind of close up the burrito, so to speak. And then I'm going to fold it back down. But I'm going to leave a little bit of room. I'll show you that. So you can see there's just a little bit of room being left. And it kind of looks like an arrow almost. Now, a couple times throughout this tutorial, I'm going to mark a line that's going to be really important for you to be able to see. And in this case, it's this line here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my index finger right before that line and apply pressure on that point right there. And I'm going to take this little lip here, I'm going to fold it over. What I'm trying to do is make a line from, or a crease from here to there. So, I'm going to do that, just like that. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. I'm going to use my other index finger and my other hand. I'm going to fold it right over. Just like that. Now these are just going to help us a little bit later, so I'm going to unfold them, and now I'm going to work on the next step, which is to fold up this piece of paper to connect this line here, this edge, with our blue line. It should come to a tip at the edge if you can make it happen. But again, it doesn't have to be super precise. And you don't, again, have to crease all the way up. You can pretty much crease up to that line and you'll be alright. So let's go back into our original shape here where we have that sort of arrow. And now what I'm going to do is highlight two more lines. If you notice, we have a new diagonal one here and a new diagonal one here. So what I'm first going to do is put my finger on this diagonal one here, and I'm going to kind of push in this edge. So instead of folding it now, I'm going to push it in. You'll notice that this edge will line up against that edge. And if I keep pushing, it'll want to fold right over just like that. I won't have this. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. We do the same now on the other side, where I put my index finger there, crease it over, bring it over, over, and in, and it comes to a point here. This is going to be the tail of our goat. So, now we're going to work on partitioning up to build the legs. So, the first thing I want you to notice is that if we fold it over, we do have this crease here, which is the center point of our quote-unquote cannoli shape. So, I'm actually just going to strengthen that crease just a bit so that we know what we're working with here. And then, I'm going to take the tip of our arrow right here, I'm going to fold it up until that crease. On the behind side, I should clarify. If I flip it back over now, I'm going to take it, I'm going to kind of fold it up and over, so that it almost is collinear with that of our tail, but not exactly. I have a little bit of a gap there, and that's perfectly fine. Now, if you notice, we have a sort of Z shape here, and what I want, I'm going to pull out an example piece of paper, and I want it to look like this. So what I need to do, let me flip it over so that they're equal. What I need to do is I need to mirror it on the right-hand side. So, I find the easiest way to do this is honestly just to do it by looking at it. A lot of tutorials out there will have you do all sorts of wild maneuvers, but I think the best way is just to kind of do it by sight and use your senses of guessing and estimation to make it work. So that looks just about right. And now I'm going to fold it over again, just like that, and we have our lovely shape that we wanted. Okay, so one way that you can know if you did it right, one second, let me flatten it out here, is if I'm just going to draw a little dotted line on that halfway mark that we've been using for reference on the first fold, is if the distance between our crease and that halfway point is the same as the distance of this little half here. That's how we know if we did it correctly. Now, I'm going to flip it back over to the other side, and we're going to try and build out the legs. So, what you want to do is, you want to take it here, and you want to fold it up, just like that, to create almost quarters. You don't have to go very far. Now, I'm going to fold it back up, and I'm going to turn it into eighths, just like that. Now, if you'll notice, we have two new creases. We have one here, and we have one there. It's a little bit hard to draw on, because it's so light. Here we go. So I'm going to take my index finger, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to try and open up this pocket. You'll see it'll open nice and nicely, and we can almost kind of take this edge and push it out, right, just like that. And you'll see it kind of stays if we do it right. I'm going to push it out again, and you can get a little bit of speed in there. And now, you'll notice that I can almost push it straight down, just like that, very easily. Perfect. So now I'm going to do the same on the other side, and I'm not going to draw the lines just so that you can see what it'll look like on your paper. Although, if drawing the lines helps, I definitely recommend it for your first go. Take it, I'm going to open up the pocket here, and push down, and push down, and now finally, I'm going to make sure that there's plenty of room on the inside, and push that down. So, now if I fold it lengthwise, hot dog style, excusing this wonderful dotted line here, and making sure that it all stays pushed out when you do that, and that you don't create any new creases, you can see we have something that kind of looks like the behind of our goat. Now we're going to work on the next half. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to unfold it, and then we're going to want to close the cannoli. Now you'll notice that we can kind of close it up, and we have something that sort of looks like the body of our goat. I'm going to leave it unfolded, and what we're going to want to do next is continue this line here and that line here outwards. So, I'm just going to kind of fold it right here, connect it. I'm going to do the same on the other side, just like that. So now we have a wonderful X on our paper. I'm going to fold to the other side and connect these two corners here to these two corners here. Or that line, if that's what suits you. They're all the same. Perfect. And now, if I hold it in the palm of my hands, you'll notice you have this nice vertice, and it's almost begging to be pressed. And if you push it in, you can see it buckles inwards. And now, I can kind of squish it inwards and make this triangle shape. Now, this triangle is going to be super helpful because it's going to be a gateway for something that we're going to be doing later. So I'm going to take a second, I'm going to zoom in my camera. So, we have our wonderful triangle shape here. And we're going to do a fold that's going to be really important for the rest of our time here. We're going to take this and we're going to fold it over like that. I'm going to take my trusty marker and just flatten it down because the creases made by this are going to be super duper helpful for everything else we do. So now I'm going to open back up our triangle. So now we have a bunch of folds. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to highlight the important one for our purposes. And it's here, and it ends here, and then this one here. Those are going to be really important for defining the shape that we're going to be doing next. What you want to do is you want to flip it over, and you see I'm just going to push it up on this halfway point dotted line and over, just like that, right? And then I'm going to fold the hind legs together, and you'll notice, and you may need to actually, what may be good is just kind of pinch it down a little bit right before you do that move. That may help you a lot. What you'll notice is that as you begin to fold it over, a big shape starts to appear. Just like that. So, now we're really getting somewhere. Next up, what we want to do is we want to work on the head and ears mainly. So, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to open it up here, and on the inside, on the inside here, you'll notice that that same crease is here and there. We're going to want to fold along that and just kind of push it inwards for now. Just like that. Apologies for the blurriness right there. And now, if I lift up this ear, you'll see it's bounded by that part that we just folded in, right? And I can kind of crease it right there. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just like that. Now, you'll notice that there are a lot of different creases that I'm about to go highlight for you. And I'm actually going to use my trusty orange marker for this. You'll notice that there's a crease from here to here, right? And also, if I fold this back down, there's a crease from here to there. So we have our two creases here, and we essentially want the two of them to coexist in harmony. So I'm going to fold it over just like that until we reach this another orange line, and then I'm going to squeeze it and push it down. Now note, when you push it down, you're going to be creating a new crease on the inside of there that didn't exist before. So the paper is going to give you a little bit of trouble. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to fold it inwards like that. I'm going to fold up until that second line right there. I'm going to push it down and try and align these two little ear pieces as best you can. We're really getting somewhere. Now we're going to work on the actual ears, but before we do that, if you want, this is a great part to stop and work a little bit on the tail. Because right now the tail is shooting directly outwards, so what you can do is you kind of just grip it, push it down a little bit, shove it in, and close it up. It won't draw any difference if you do that. It'll just look a little bit nicer. You can see on the other goat, I have it a little bit more sloped in, and I think it looks a lot better than being out. So now let's focus on the ears. First thing is that if you fold this bit up, right, you'll notice you can only go a little bit before you intersect with the crease below it, but that's totally fine. By doing so, right, if I just fold it up, you'll notice you make a line here. Now, I'm going to try my best to mirror that line on the other side, which I just drew, like that. And now we have these two creases with those two lines, and I can pinch it right at the intersection and fold it directly downwards, just like that. And now we have an ear that kind of goes droopy downwards. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just folding those two in, pinching at the intersection, and bringing it down. Great. So, let's undo the ears real quick. And let's take this forehead bit, fold it up, and pop it out. You'll notice that this kind of comes out. That's okay. Put it down, and on that blue line that we have, we're going to fold it in and in the back. Just like this. It doesn't matter what side you choose. In my case, I'm going to choose the right side. You just fold it in and back. And you'll see that this little square here really wants to cause some trouble. So what we're going to do is, once we fold it all nice and down and in and back, I'm going to take that little bit here. I'm going to take a little bit out, just a little bit. And I'm going to close it. And as I close it, I'm just going to pull that bit out. So let me fix that. Just like that. Just did a little bit of refolding. And now I should be able to take my ears, push them back down again. Take that ear, push him back down again. Now we have our wonderful goatee, two ears, and it's getting somewhere. So how do we get from this to the next step? Well, if you look forward, you can see that I can kind of pull the two flaps of its neck apart. So I'm going to keep folding it, keep moving them apart as they kind of want to go. Notice the ears are going to come apart again. That's fine. We can fix them in a few. I'm just going to keep folding, 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 folding until I reach a point where I essentially have to fold it outwards and inwards, just like that. So I'm going to show that one more time here. We have our ears pointing downwards. I'm going to take these flaps and just fold them, fold them, fold them, fold them until the head flattens down. Now if you notice, the ears are pointing directly backwards, the head is out, and the goatee kind of fell a little bit in, but the goatee's right out. So, have we done our origami goat? Not yet. If you look on the back here, you can see it kind of looks like it's trying to unfold itself a little bit. Whereas if I look at the back of the completed one, it's very nice and contained. And this next fold is definitely the hardest one that we're going to have to do today. What we're going to do is, I'm going to undo that step. Instead of folding outwards along this edge, we're instead going to try and fold inwards on both of them. Now the paper is really going to fight you on this one, so I'm going to tell you my best strategy. It's to get them both like this, and then push in, and kind of grip the neck area, and pinch, right? And then with the other two, you're going to pinch again, and make sure that the bottom part doesn't come undone. I'm going to just kind of squish it all together. And you'll notice he still looks like he's kind of looking upwards, so I'm going to pinch him again. I'm going to do it one more time. And essentially what you want every time is you want to move the head more inwards until it's essentially parallel with the back. just like this. And now, we're almost there. This is a great time to go and just make sure you need to fold in any other small folds. Make sure it all looks nice before we do our final step to kind of lock the legs together. So, to lock the legs together, you're going to open up the legs here, and you'll notice that there's this kind of flap here and this kind of flap here. And all you want to do is just take one, put it in the other, squeeze it shut, and there you go. You have a lovely origami goat facing forward with a cute little goatee. And if you do enough practice, you can make one that looks really good, very nicely refined with sharp corners. It definitely takes a little bit more time than we have here today, but feel free to pause, rewind, all of that throughout this tutorial to get a wonderful goat. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the Student Alumni Society, I hope you all stay healthy and safe and have a wonderful semester.